I turned thrift store and garage sale finds into over $1,400 by flipping them on eBay and Etsy. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. Some of these flips sold for way more than I expected, and one of them I almost didn't buy ended up being my biggest sale. Hey, I'm Margaret. I make money by selling things on eBay and Etsy that I pick up from thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, and other places like that. And I flip them on eBay and Etsy for profit. Let me show you what I bought, what I sold, and give you my reseller tips along. I call myself a bricks and mortar seller. I'm the kind of person that doesn't necessarily always go off of sell-through rate, which means buying items that I know for sure are going to sell quickly and hopefully for a high profit. And while sell-through rate can be really valuable, it can also be extremely limiting. If you're only looking for items that have a high sell-through rate, you might be walking past lots of things that can bring great profits by flipping them on eBay. What do I mean when I say bricks and mortar seller? Think of it like building a house. You've got your big bricks, which are those big ticket item sales, or things that have a good sell-through rate that are going to sell pretty quickly, so you know you're going to get those big pieces, those big chunks of money. The mortar are those smaller item sales that might bring in anywhere from $5 to $15. They might be smaller items. They might be things that are easy to list, easy to ship. Maybe I bring up my buttons all the time because I bought a big tote full of buttons. They don't have a great sell-through rate, but those buttons over the last 2 years have brought in thousands of dollars. $5 here, $20 there, $15 here. And every week I've sold 2, 3, 4, 5 of these buttons. And without those mortar sales, a lot of my profits would fall apart. I like selling that way. Let me show you the things that have sold, and you'll be able to see pretty quickly like which items were brick and mortar sales. Before I get started and forget, go down to the comment section and leave me a comment with your biggest sale lately. These are my sales from eBay and Etsy, so they're all mixed up. The first item here was this little tiny lapel pin of a Canadian flag. This sold for $17.99. This was something I got in a big lot. I bought a big giant tote of buttons that I mentioned earlier. It had hundreds of buttons and pins in it, keychains, things like that. And I bought it for $25. I remember when I bought it, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just spent $25 on this. But I have made thousands of dollars off of these pins and buttons over the last couple of years. Next up, I sold this brass chalice. This sold for $19.99. I got this at the thrift store for about $3. I actually got 2 of them, so I have another one that's for sale as well. And I decided not to sell them as a pair because if somebody just wanted one, then they would be able to do that and just buy one. This is a tie tack that I've had listed for a really long time. I get the question sometimes, how long do I leave things listed before I take it down? Pretty much I leave it up all the time. I don't take things down unless it's something really big that's taking up a lot of space in my workroom and there hasn't been any sign of interest on the item. Then I start thinking about, after usually a year or more, I'll start thinking, man, I really want that space. Let me start thinking about redonating that and getting it out of my workroom. This is another one of those mortar items. I got this Bush and Quail bumper sticker. It was at the same garage sale, but he also had lots of stickers and other things like that. So I got a big bunch of bumper stickers there as well. This sold for $16. This is an item I got at a garage sale that I say when you go to garage sales and you think, oh, they've just got one little rinky-dinky table out, go up and look. This was in a shoebox that was full of Harley patches, keychains, and things like that. And the guy sold me the shoebox of everything for $5. So I've been selling these keychains and patches that were in that shoebox, and I've made quite a bit of money off those as well. So this is a rocker patch, Harley Davidson, that sold for $19. This is one of those items that I was thinking, I'm about to pull this thing down because it was pretty big, this big bowl, and it's been sitting on the shelf in there. I actually have 2 of them, so I've got one more. Okay, there's hope for that second one now. This one sold for $65, and I really was just contemplating, man, these 2 things have been sitting here. I think I'm ready to get rid of them. But I'm glad I didn't because it sold for $65. This was another one I was on the fence about. So this is a Dragon's Lair DVD game. And I remember playing this at the arcade. My brother loved this game. I was never very good at it. It was pretty hard. So this one sold for $24.99. And I think I got this at a garage sale for just a buck or 2. And I remember after I got it and looked it up, I was like, oh man, I don't know. This is going to probably sit for a while. It's maybe sat for 6 to 8 months. So it's It hasn't been a fast seller, but at the same time, $25. It's just sitting on the shelf. It's a little flat on the shelf with all the games and books. Here's one of those buttons. This was one that I got in that big lot, and it sold for $14.99. And another one of the buttons that I got in the big lot that sold for $23. So you can see how these, I kind of consider these mortar, but I mean, $22.99 is a pretty good sized chunk of money for us. Some sellers might look at a big lot of buttons like that and think, oh my gosh, that's going to take so long to take the pictures and get all those listed. But for me, it's almost like an investment in my future. When I look at it that way, like, okay, I'm going to put this, it's not a whole lot of time. Take a picture of the front, take a picture of the back. It doesn't take very long to list if you've got a little template of what to fill in. And over time, all of those buttons that I spent the time listing are just bringing in profits week after week after week after week. So it's been fantastic. And then this sold, actually, I bought 3 copper and brass things like this at the same time from the thrift store. I think they were $3 or $4 a piece. And it's something that I was on the fence about buying because they were kind of big, long. And I thought, shipping that, like, what box am I going to use? I like to keep in mind, like, how I'm going to ship this. But I'm glad that I did because this sold for $35. Here's another one of those buttons. This one sold for $17.99. And look at the background there. We had gone on a road trip and I decided I'm going to take these buttons with me because there were hundreds and hundreds of buttons. So as we're on the road trip, I had a white t-shirt on my lap and I was just taking pictures front, back measurement as we're on the road trip because I thought, what else am I going to do just sitting there in the car? So I was able to quickly take pictures while we're on a road trip. If you watched one of my previous sale videos, I had a grumpy solar display like this one. And this one I got at the thrift store as well. And this one sold for $50. This is a comic book that sold a few years back. I think it was right after COVID. A friend of mine gave me 9 big long boxes of comics that she had. And again, that's one of those things that took time to get those photos done, but it's been sale after sale after sale for all of these years. Taking the time for these big lots of items that you might get and listing them can really bring in lots of profits over the years. I actually have a funny story about this one. So this sold yesterday or over the weekend. Anyway, I shipped it out or boxed it up last night to ship out. And as I was getting ready for this video, I was like, why was the sale for this so? Because I was looking at the sales. I was like, the sale was like $30 something. I'm like, I'm confused about that. The person had bought 2 of them and I had only boxed up 1 because I didn't pay attention to the quantity that they had purchased. So luckily the postman had not come yet. They were still on the porch, the boxes. So rushed upstairs and got the second one, put in the box and taped it back up. So phew, I was about to have to send out a separate package for this luggage tag. These I got years ago in a Firefly loot crate. These were some fun sunglasses that I got at a garage sale. They were, again, just in a shoe box. I think I bought them for $1 and they were just funky. They had chains instead of rims along the side and they sold for $35. This also was something I got in the Firefly loot crate and these stickers sold for $20. I think the loot crates were $40 or $50 a piece. I can't quite remember. But there were certain things that I ended up keeping from the loot crates and then the rest I've been selling off over the years. Here's the other one. This is the copper ladle. This one sold for about $25 and they really weren't that bad to ship. So I was kind of nervous, like, oh, it's kind of long. What am I going to do? How am I going to ship this out? It's a weird shape, but they really weren't that bad to ship out. And this is a brooch that sold. I just got this listed recently. So keeping up that motivation to get things listed because obviously it can't sell if it's not listed. This little wooden brooch sold for $17.49. These I got at a church garage sale. I can't even remember. I was still in Austin, so it's been at least 2 years probably. And they were little glass, they look like little pots of flowers, but they were place card holders. And these sold for $77. And I've actually had 2 Yeti hats sell lately. So I'm wondering if there's some uptick with Yeti going on right now. So this was a gray Yeti hat that sold for $50.99. We got a big batch of Yeti hats and shirts and things like that. And the person that was selling them to us for $5 a piece. And over the last couple of years, they've been selling off. I mean, it's been a little slow, so that's why I was like, oh, there's 2 that sold, and I thought maybe it was the same person, but it wasn't. So I need to see what's going on with Yeti. And this is a little star punch that sold. This was one that I actually got because I wanted to play with it, and I decided, what am I doing? Why? Do y'all do this? Sometimes I buy things, catch and release, right? Catch it, play around with it, and then just sell it because I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I ended up selling it, sold for $12.59. And if you've noticed on some of my sales, I was running a 30% off sale in my shop, which is quite a large sale for me to do. But I really was trying to kickstart some sales after the slowdown. Usually Q4 is a big ramp up. January might be okay. And then things start kind of trickling off until the summer pickup. And so I really was trying to kickstart a few sales. And by running a sale in my shop and then really taking a look at some of the offers that were being sent in helped me to get a lot more sales lately. And this little thing I got in a grab bag. I love getting the grab bags with all the little toys and trinkets and jewelry and things like that in them. So this was a little blind box Myra Elizabeth, little flocked kitty cat with ice cream on its head. And this sold for $10.49. And this is a little timer. I got this at an estate sale. They had a whole bunch of mushroom stuff. Some of it I wanted to keep for myself, they were like yard ornaments. And then there were a few other mushroom things like this. I did have to give a refund on this one because for whatever reason, the timer quit working. So it was turning and clicking and all that stuff, but it wasn't going off. I didn't have the person send it back to me. I just refunded it. It was such a small amount that it wasn't worth all the trouble of like waiting and having it come back and then it's not broken, it's broken and just for that small amount of money. So I was like, you know what? It's just part of doing business. So let's just write that off. Here's the other Yeti hat that sold. This one had a purple logo, and this one sold for $70.99. And I picked up this Polaroid film at a garage sale, and it sold for $13.99 on sale. This was one, I got so many offers on this one. People were sending, and lowball offers don't normally bother me, but I was getting a lot of really like $5 offers and things like that. I'm like, it's already on sale, and I see how many are up. There's a lot of other people selling them, and so I was like, no, my price is good. So $13.99 is what this one sold for. Here's another Loot Crate Firefly item. This was a journal that sold for $18. And I love picking up and selling figural items. So this bird, it was so quirky. It was wooden, really cool looking. And this sold for $13.99. I think I got it I'm trying to remember if I got it at Goodwill or at a garage sale. But either way, I probably spent just a couple bucks on it. These are some earrings that were in a recent unboxing that I did, and they sold for around $10.50. If you haven't ever watched any of the jewelry unboxings, they're super fun. Like here, I just happen to have one here that I was going to unbox. So it's just like a big bag of jewelry. So for me to tell you like, how much did I spend on this? Well, here's a bag of jewelry. It's probably got, 100 items in it. It was $65, so maybe a buck or so on the earrings, making an $8 to $9 profit on that. Not too bad. I used to say that'll buy me a carton of eggs, but not so much anymore. Here's another item that I just recently listed. It's a Edwardian style stick pin. This one sold for $14. And I don't sell a lot of clothes, but I had done a ride-along video and there was a garage sale sign that I followed and it went to a dry cleaner's. And the dry cleaner, after holding things for a year, he puts them out for sale. And so I bought this, I think for a couple dollars from the dry cleaners and ended up selling it for $14. And this little cute Texas ceramic dish sold for $12.50. Coffee mugs are another thing I really love selling. I actually don't have as many listed as I used to, but this one sold for $17.49. This is a Cult Movies magazine. A couple years ago, we got a big lot of magazines and comic books. It was like Mad magazines, National Lampoons. There were tons of horror magazines. And we spent $65 on this huge lot. This is another big bunch of stuff that, took time to get all the photos done, get the listings up, but it's an investment in, front loading that work to get them up will spread those profits out over the years. Yeah, some of them sold really quick. Some of them sold for $100, $60, and then the rest just taking their time to sell, $60 here, $20 there, but it's nice to have all of those little mortar items that are coming in week after week after week that I don't have to worry about. Plus, they're easy to ship, easy to store, which I love. And then these earrings, actually, I probably could have gotten more for them, but I think I recently lowered the price because I have had them for quite a while. But these are some silver grape earrings, and they sold for $15. Probably could have gotten more for them, but I'm still happy for the sale. Shoes are another thing I don't sell a whole lot of, but I got these at a garage sale. They were actually a pair that I was looking at, and then I left and I went back and got them because they were selling them, I think, for $2 or $3. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get them. But with the $30 off, that was quite a big chunk, but it was still a good $30 profit. So not too bad. I love selling Lego. I don't normally put my Lego on sale. I don't normally take offers on Lego because Legos are like a stock where when it becomes retired and more scarce, the prices can really skyrocket. These are some that I got at a thrift store, and so the boxes were kind of damaged on some of them. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll put some of these on sale and get them moving a little quicker. But some of mine that I have that are like new and pristine in the box, I don't normally. But there is one here that I do. So this one sold for $10.49. I think I bought it for a buck or two. There's a Goodwill that I found that actually puts out Lego. So I'm like, ooh, every time I'm in that area, I pop in and see if they've got any. Here's some more little birds, these cute little crows. These sold for $14.69. This was in a recent unboxing as well. They were still on the card. They were like Target. They were from Target or something. And there were 3 little rings still on, they put them on a card like that. And they're zip tied to it. That's the word I'm looking for. So these, they weren't fancy or anything like that. But I go, it's easy, And they sold like within 2 days, I think. $6.99 on those. It was easy. Front, back. Easy peasy, $6. This is one of my better sales, but it's not the big ticket one. When I saw this at a garage sale for $5, I was like, ooh, I got to get this one. I think I could have held out because I only saw maybe one other with this style. This is Enid Collins. So if you see this brand, Enid Collins, usually it's some kind of canvas or it's almost like a burlap. It's really rough, but there's usually a painting or a picture and lots of embellishments on it. Sometimes it's owls, sometimes it's just flowers and things like that. But this sold for $80. This Damascene brooch sold for $18. It's another one that maybe in the past I wouldn't have put it on sale. Damascene is one of these things that I always think should sell for a lot more. And depending on the style of the Damascene, that's it's like black and it's like etched onto the black to make the design. I always feel like it should sell for more because it looks so fancy to me, but they don't always sell for that much depending on what it is. And I went ahead and let it go for $18. I love selling these kits. These sewing kits that come with all of the bits inside, especially Christmas ones, can do really well. Stockings, tree skirts, oh my goodness, they can sell really well. This one sold for $17.49. I got it for maybe $2 or $3 at the thrift store, and it sold really quickly. Here's another one that I got at the Goodwill. This one sold for $14. This is one that I was like, oh, do I want to go ahead and take the offer for it, let it go for 30% off. Normally, like I said, I don't with my Lego stuff. I went ahead and let this one go for $62, and I already got a really good review on it. The person was thrilled to get it for such a good price. Once again, I don't sell a whole lot of shoes, but when I saw Rothy's at the thrift store, I'm like, I know that one. I will pick those up. So I had these. I actually have a pink pair, and I have another pair I haven't listed yet, and these sold for $52. This came in the Fallout loot crate that we got, and it sold for $30. It was, what's he called? Mr. Fuzzy. Unfortunately, my kids love Fallout, but all of the Fallout crates we were getting was from Fallout 76, which is not the same as the Fallout 11 that they play. I don't know. It wasn't the right one. And so they're like, it's all Fallout 76. So everything pretty much that we got from the Fallout crates has been going right up on eBay. Funky and weird sales, you guys. So these are banana bookends that sold for $52. I did see a couple up that were sold and for sale that weren't quite as much, but I was like, man, this is so cool. It needs to sell for more than that. I put it up originally for $75, but with the 30% off at $52, pretty good. Bought this for $4.99 at the thrift store. Here's another one of those buttons. It sold for $4.89. Again, kind of low, but what did it take me to list it? And when you look at the grand scheme of things of all the other buttons that I had, I've made money hand over fist with the buttons, so I could let this one, Governor Rick Perry button, go for $4.89. This was a cute little beanie that I got in a ThredUp box, a ThredUp fun box, and it sold for $14. Yes, empty boxes will sell, so if you've got empty jewelry boxes from different brands, James Avery, Kendra Scott, what have you, go ahead and list them. So I had a bunch of these James Avery boxes, and they had the bag with it. They had the little velvety pouch that went inside, and these sold for $10.49. This Ted Baker tie sold for $24. And again, I don't sell a lot of ties and clothes, so I'm like, I don't know why I had this. I think it was the last tie I had. This one sold. Glad to see it go. And I love selling little toys like this. I love a good grab bag. I love a bin full of little toys because you never know what you're going to find. Sometimes there are toys that sell for a big bunch of money. And I knew Pokemon had a good following, so I pulled all the Pokemon toys out. Some sold for more than others, but this one sold for $9.79. What's this one? Graveler. I had to ask my kids, like, who are these Pokemon? This is a Kenneth Cole toiletry bag. This I also got in a ThredUp fun box, and it sold for $18.19. And this was my big sale that I almost didn't get, almost didn't sell, because I have to admit, shipping is one of my downfalls. I like things to be easy, and this was a big, heavy metal lamp with a glass globe for the lampshade. And I was like, oh boy. But it was just so fun. I think I bought it for $4 or $5 at a garage sale. I'm like, all right, I got to do it. At first I thought, well, I'll just let my kids have it. And my kids didn't want it. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll list it. But I did ship it, and I made a shipping video. I think it's for the members, but it sold for $85. So that was a really good profit on a $5 item. And being able to ship it, I felt very accomplished and proud of myself that I got this shipped out. It made it to the buyer, and everybody was happy. I know some of you have already started selling, but if you are still on the fence about it, I'm going to encourage you to get that first item up there and list it because it is so rewarding. So much fun to go out thrifting and so much fun to make money off the fun things that you're finding at the thrift store. And leave me that comment. I want to know what was one of your best sales lately. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.